So they're very famous for treating arthritis. And they've even done clinical studies of that, where they stung people, and the placebo was they took Lanium album, which is called white dead nettle. It looks just like nettles, but it doesn't have stingers, and they like rub people's skin. I'm like, that's not a placebo. Like, of course you know you're not being stung, right? But anyway, it does really work for that. So one of the most common questions I get asked when I teach like field class stuff is, how do you treat nettle stings? And I said, why would you want to treat a nettle sting?
Because
it's like saying, how do you treat someone you've just given medicine to, you know? It really is not bad for you, even though it feels kind of painful and weird.
Kind of.
But
And then,
do you cook them? How do you generally
you can also do that, but I'm talking right now about actually stinging yourself on purpose. So that is useful potentially for MS and arthritis and all kinds of pain syndromes, headaches, like sting your head, neck aches, sting your neck.
So you have to directly sting the area that is.
Well, as far as we know, you need to sting the area, but it's a good question.
Or does it get absorbed in some fashion?
I don't think it's getting absorbed. I don't know for sure. I think it's a local effect. But yes, you can also steam it, and that will destroy the hairs, or you can cook it. You can mix it with alcohol, you know, make a tincture. Any of these ways will break down the hairs, and then you can drink it and eat it. And that really, I think we should almost think of this as a food. To think of it as medicine is a little misleading, because you have to take a lot. It's a very gentle, slow-acting kind of a thing, and it's very nutritious. It's really like a green leafy vegetable. So you definitely could think about this for people that are very depleted and weak, like they've been sick a long time, they've gotten over pneumonia, or they have cancer. And those aren't really the strong traditions of it so much, except that if you think of it as a food, that makes a lot of sense. Now, it is also commonly used to treat allergies. And interesting story, just this week in the clinic, my resident had a patient that came in with hives, and they gave the patient the steam or the freeze-dried nettle leaves, and she got much worse. And everyone was kind of scratching their head, and of course they said stop taking it. Well, she went and got tested for what she was allergic to, and nettles was her highest allergic reaction on her skin of anything. So you can be allergic to nettles. I've never ever seen that before, so it's a very rare thing. There's also benefit of taking it orally to treat arthritis and other inflammatory conditions. And there's even, again, kind of a modern study of that, where using it more like a stew or a tea, like a really thick tea, they showed that people with arthritis could take way less medicine to relieve their pain. And you know, who knows sort of why that's happening, but it's good stuff. Now, that's the leaf. The root is totally and completely different. And there's no traditional use of the root that I've been able to find. But in Germany in the 1950s, some researchers said, let's see if this helps for enlarged prostate. Like, why did they decide that? I don't know. It's like, I wouldn't look at this and think, oh, prostate, you know. Anyway, the roots are used for an enlarged prostate, and they can help with the symptoms of that. And then the seeds, which are just barely, these are early flowers coming out, but they'll make these tiny little seeds that are like dust. And those seeds are really, really nourishing to the kidneys. And so this is one of our really important Northwest readily available remedies for people whose kidneys are starting to fail. And you can even give it to them late in the process, but it's much better early in the process. And this is something I have a little bit of a specialty of in my practice, is working with kidney diseases and neurological diseases. Because kind of no one does that, but lots of people have these problems. So I said, hey, I'm interested in that. I'll give it a whirl. So they'll work both dried and fresh. I've mostly used them as a tincture, but you could potentially make them into a tea or capsules. And there doesn't seem to be any toxicity, although the little seeds do have stingers on them. So when you harvest, generally, again, it's not going to hurt you, but you generally wear gloves unless you want to get stung, which is fine. So who knows the right dose, but it's very, very safe. And I have seen patients in kidney failure stop progressing, and even improve somewhat, which is kind of heretical that that can happen in conventional medicine. That's somewhat not believable, but I've seen it, repeatedly. So I'm pretty excited about nettles, and they're so prolific. And so this would be one that kind of breaks that rule. I said don't pick it or anything. Like, feel free.